What up, y'all? It is I, Nate Almighty, aka the Global Dark Skin Ambassador, aka Bald Men Do It Better, aka the official self-titled, self-proclaimed power player. And what I got for y'all is another powerbook Season 4 theory and prediction, y'all. And today on the Nate Almighty Music and Entertainment channel, we are going to discuss what may have been hidden from us in plain sight all along, man. The creators of Power, Ghost, Tommy, all of them included, they had us on a wild goose chase, man. Today's theory, we will be discussing how Tommy saved Ghost's life and everything that Tariq is going to find out about Ghost and or his Uncle Tommy. It's possible that Tommy saved Ghost's life and Tommy and Ghost are in cahoots, doing things and keeping things from Tariq. Y'all already know what it is. Like this video, subscribe if you're new here, man. Without further ado, let's get to it. All right, now, first I want to shout out the Universe of Power channel, okay? This is partly his original idea. I don't know if he's the first person to mention this, but I was inspired to make a continuation of a video that I just seen of his because he said things that got the gears moving in my mind, okay? So I'm gonna touch on some things that he left out in his video as we ponder, is it true if Tommy saved Ghost's life? Okay, so let's break it down like this, people. To begin with, those of us who are very familiar with Season 6 of OG Power, we all know that when Tariq was on his way to kill his father, he ran into one person. That person being his uncle, Tommy Egan, okay? During this conversation, Tommy Egan is talking to Tariq and he's like, hey, nephew, let all the negative energy go about your dad, okay? We're family. We could be family again, blase, blah, blase, blah. Tariq, who's already made up his mind that he has no choice but to kill his father because his father is in his way. And I alluded in the previous video that Ghost purposely baited Tariq into doing this, right? So we can still include that theory with this by saying that Ghost baited Tariq, but he wasn't sure up until the point that I'm about to discuss whether Tariq was really capable of it or not. But like I was saying, Tariq and Tommy, they have this conversation. Tariq doesn't listen, right? Tommy realizes, hey, I gotta save my damn brother from my damn nephew, right? My nephew is twisted in the head. He wants to literally actively destroy this family. Now, what happens next is, we already know. Being that Tariq knew that his Uncle Tommy, of course, would try to stop him, and he knew that Tommy is a person who would easily be able to stop him, right? He tips off Vince, lets Vince know that Tommy's on his way, right? And this leads to Tommy killing Vince. This also led to Tommy arriving to Club Truth moments late after Tariq kills Ghost, okay? But here's the thing. Here is where this theory really comes into play. We have seen things happen on Power, and then we find out that things happen off screen or conversations happen off screen. So my question to you people is this. Being that everyone has cell phones on them, would it not be very easy for Tommy to get on the phone, call Ghost? Mind you, they're still on speaking terms at this point, right? They reconciled in a way. Wouldn't it be very easy for Tommy to go in his pocket, grab his phone, call his brother Ghost, at the same time where he's literally watching Tariq walk away from him on his way to kill his own father? What would stop Tommy from making this phone call? Of course, he would want to warn Ghost what's going on. And mind you, Ghost, who definitely would not have told Tommy all of his plans, right? But Ghost would be the same person who he's expecting 2 to 5 different people to try to come and take his life, right? Including his own son. Even though that's the one person who he hopes the most would not be doing this, right? But Tommy would call Ghost. It only makes sense that Tommy would call Ghost seconds after having this conversation with Tariq and warn Ghost like, hey, I think your son is coming to try to blow your head off. Pause, I'm from New York. It sounded weird coming out of my mouth. Pause again. Ayo, right? But anyways, we may come to find out once Ghost officially steps back into the story, right? And I believe they're going to give us some of this before the finale, right? Because there's so much backstory that's going to be needed to tell us that they can't do it in the same capacity that they had with the unique/breeze thing that ended raising Canaan. Like around episode 5 is when they're going to start revealing stuff to us, right? But we have to assume that Tommy called Ghost way before he even went to try to stop Tariq. And it's possible Ghost was like, whatever, let it happen. Or he was like, I don't want my son to see what may happen based off of somebody else and then try to take them out or whatever, right? He could have either said, Tommy, stop Tariq, or he could have said, let him do what he do, and Tommy was like, no, I'm gonna stop him, right? Another thing, right? Another thing. I have here a list of 1 to 5 things, and I'm gonna say 1 to 6 things that we have not got a definitive answer to, that we did not definitively see on screen. And all of these things, right? All of these things could have played a hand in Ghost's getaway plan as far as what happens from the moment things go down in Club Truth. Okay, so first let's talk about the fact that we knew that Ghost had ambulance on standby since season 1. Okay, right? Already giving the possibility that as soon as Ghost gets shot, he has an ambulance in his same building. Meaning that if he didn't have a vest on, right, and he got shot, and it pierced his chest, you don't die because you got shot. You died because of the amount of blood you lost, right? If it just so happened that Ghost is smart enough to have the ambulance on standby, and there is footage of different angles to deal with Tasha and things like that, and plus the scene with Tariq walking away from the club after Ghost is shot, right? There's at least 2 examples of ambulances being around Club Truth. Okay, so, and if that's not the case, we also still know from season 6 that Tommy had his own ambulance situation. So either one of those 2 scenarios took place, or at the very least, being that Ghost knew what Tariq was going to do, after speaking to Ghost, Tariq could have called the ambulance, right? Because all of these things, right? The conversation between Tommy and Tariq and the Vince thing happened, or what's his name, Vinny, and Paz and everyone, Dre and everyone showing up to the club. All of this stuff happened within like 2 to 5 minutes of each other. Okay? Then 2 to 5 minutes of each other, okay? And in New York City, and we dealing with black people, that ambulance came a little too fast. So it's very much possible that off camera, Tommy called the ambulance just to show up. He could have said, hey, I want to report a shooting at such and such address. Boom. That's it. So that's one thing. And then the next thing, right? Tommy made a promise to Ghost that we didn't see on screen during the scene where Ghost got shot, but it was said from Tommy to Tariq, and I believe it was episode 1 of Ghost. If not, it was during the season 1, I mean. And that's where Tommy says, I promised your father that I would not kill you. Did Tommy really mean that? Did Tommy really have that conversation with Ghost? If so, why didn't we see that happen on screen? Is it possible that we're going to get a flashback and we're going to see that happen? Is it possible we're going to get a flashback and Tommy is going to say, I'm going to kill him? And Ghost is like, promise me you're not going to kill Tariq. Promise me you're not going to do it. And y'all know Ghost had these kind of conversations with Tommy in the past. So that's the second thing. The next thing, right? All things concerning Ghost's dead body. Never been seen. That's enough to let you know Ghost is going to come back, and it was always in the plans for him to come back. They was just waiting to get the money right, get the deal straight, right? The monumental things that they're going to do with Omari Hardwick, you're damn right it took 4 or 5 years to get it done. Because they about to do some monumental stuff. Like, I feel like, not only is he going to pop up in Force, pop up in Book 2 Ghost, right? But he will be narrating Power Origins, maybe not, with Joseph Sikora as well, right? But like I said, his body was never identified. We never really seen him take his last breath at all. We didn't see him in the ambulance or anything taking his last breath. Y'all know how it be in movies and stuff like that. If somebody dies in the ambulance, the people are working on them. They're trying to use the defibrillator on them. And they're like, clear, right? And then they die, right? And then you hear that beep. We did not see that with Ghost. We didn't see that. And you got to understand that the reason why they did not show Ghost in the ambulance at all is because he really was in the ambulance. And he survived. Okay? And come on now, y'all know. Ramona's not at the funeral. Ghost had a closed casket. Why did he get a closed casket? His face wasn't mauled or nothing, right? He didn't get shot in his face, shot in his head, right? And now let's move on to the next thing, right? Right? Where did Tommy go after leaving Ghost? Now, this was a critical thing that I overlooked when I was watching the Universe of Powers video, right? But he was right. We do not see what Tommy did, where Tommy went. We see him with Ghost, and then we do not see him again until the next day, pretty much. Where you have Kate Egan, right, warning him. I mean, not warning him, but trying to blame him for killing Ghost and all that other stuff, right? Right? Why? Why didn't they show us what happened? Why didn't they show us what Tommy did right after that fact? Why they didn't show us Tommy leaving the club, going about his business, at least, right? It makes you wonder. And last but not least, okay, one critical thing people continue to overlook: the security camera at Kate's house, and what other security cameras Ghost might have set up, and where he could be watching all of this footage. The man is property of the Democratic Party, okay? Do we have to remind ourselves what Democrats do? Do we have to? Do we have to remind ourselves that we're talking about politics and politicians, and they was doing shiesty things before they knew what shiesty things were? There's a lot of things that happen off screen, especially in season 6, when Ghost was doing what he was doing, that need to be revealed. Will we find out the answer to all of these things, including the fact that Tommy saved Ghost's life?
Can't teach that shit, nigga. Come on. That's God-gifted. That's touched by an ink. That's on the dome, nigga.